I found something in the sand and it's a giant butt plug.
I was gonna say, are we gonna stop jerking each other off? Or are we gonna start
You're so handsome,
recording?
too.
Yeah.
You mention that? Thank God.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Hype Attack. Pew, 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 pew. On today's episode, we will get into the king of monsters, Godzilla Minus One. We all watched it, and oh boy, do we have some stuff to say about this movie.
Yes.
I think it was 2023's best movie, but that's just my opinion.
They can still hear you. You're on a microphone.
But before we dive into the movie, we're going to go around the room and see what everybody's hyped about. Doug?
Oh, I've actually started playing World of Warcraft again. I took quite a long break. I haven't started actually in the new stuff because that game is very overwhelming when you try to go back into it and there's like 6 people trying to give you quests and you're not sure what to do. So I started playing like one of my other characters that hasn't leveled up through all the latest content. So I'm kind of replaying a lot of stuff I've done before, but with a survival hunter. I've never played survival hunter. I always did Beastmaster hunter. It's a little bit different. So I'm enjoying it. It's World of Warcraft. It's so hard to explain how the game is fun because I'll also describe it as like, oh, it's great playing a game that you can. No, I know. It's great playing a game that you can almost shut off half your brain and like just mindlessly go through it, but it's fun. Like, and I think anyone that's played World of Warcraft or any RPG, I guess, because you recognize like you're kind of playing through it, but like part of the point is to level up your character and get the renown or the currency and stuff like that. So like, there's not like a lot to it challenge wise. And so you can kind of just zone out and do it all. But then there are those challenging moments. And that's what makes World of Warcraft like the game that it is there's a lot of different content. But like the main grind is pretty mindless. So, like I said, which is kind of nice.
Did you come back to it because you wanted to go back to it? Or was there something from like the Video Game Awards of like, oh, something's dropping, maybe I should get ready for it?
Nothing from the Video Game Awards, but BlizzCon made that announcement for the next 3 expansions, all being part of it. And I've been wanting to get back to it. I main a monk, a DPS monk, and I still think that's the best class. It's really, really fun to play. Combat is pretty dynamic. I'm like constantly pushing buttons and ready to go. And none of the other classes quite have that. But I just wanted to play something different, and I was going through like all the different characters, and I realized I've never played Survival Hunter and Beastmaster Hunter. You're using like a bow, and you have a pet, and so it's like kind of a range, and Survival's a melee and a pet, and I was like, all right, that's something different.
When's the last time you played? Or your hiatus?
Oh God. Early last year, I think.
Oh,
like
okay.
It's been a while. I mean, I've been playing in this last expansion, but like they've done a couple big patches since then, and so I want to get caught up and finish everything in this expansion, and then be ready for the War Within or whatever the next one's called. That's my big hype. I'm excited to get back to that, along with all the other million video games I've been playing. Because
Man,
I saw somewhere Steam. So Steam alone, ignoring PlayStation. And Nintendo. Steam, I think, added like on average 40 new games a day over 2023. We got too many damn fucking games.
all my little, relating to this as far as Steam is I know that they're the makers of my drone simulator.
Oh, fun.
That's it. That's all I know.
They made your drone simulator, or they host the people who made your drone simulator?
Look, man.
Okay, never mind.
Barely realized what video games were last year. Okay.
Steam is mostly just like a online storefront. So
okay,
so
I got
you
it. Got it.
bought the.
Speaking of video games, I just recently got back into not Zelda. That's too fucking deep in that world. But my wife Alva is editing our recent 2 White Just Tea episodes, and so I get to just like chill at night. I started playing like Smash Brothers again, try to finish that whatever campaign thing. I'm like, you motherfuckers! Just when you think it's done, they're like, oh yeah, now there's the underworld. I'm like, fuck. And then there's like the sub ultra world. Okay, well, I mean it's more to play and. I don't know if you've played it, Super Smash Brothers Ultimate and that spirit board thing, but you can you have your skills that you can grow and get all the points. So you're always growing to try to like make the best fucking character. It's like, this is fun. I kind of see what Doug's talking about.
Yeah.
But then there's classic mode if I just want to fuck off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything with like sort of character development or progression and making them stronger. There's that reward system, I guess, of going through the work.
And like at first I was like, oh God, it's so complicated because like they have this thing of like, okay, you're fighting this one character and it's this type of character, which means you know, kind of like rock, paper, scissors, you know, this type beats that type. And I'm like, I don't want to do the math. And you hit a button and just like selects it for you. And I'm like, okay, it's nice. Isaac proof. So, but that's what I've been hyped about recently. That and some TV shows. I started watching Blue-Eyed Samurai. Holy shit. Oh my God.
Finally.
What a fucking great show.
Yeah. Too good.
The animation, the story, the voice acting. I'm one of those nerds that when I hear a voice, whether it's on a live action thing or
Peaches.
Peaches?
Wow. Deep cuts.
That was literally the first thing I told you too. I was like, oh my God, I started watching it. All I can say is Peaches. But it's so, what's the word? Not robust, although that does apply. It's rich. You know?
Yeah, it's a nice
I thought
animated series. It gives you everything you want.
Yeah.
And some.
Yeah. I thought that I was gonna have to like slowly kind of get into it. Right from the beginning it grabbed me. Mm-hmm. So I suggest people to check out Blue-Eyed Samurai immediately.
Yes.
A lot of fun voice actors too. So and it kind of has you guessing and some story arcs and fucking love it. But
I love the way the story is laid out. Like how they deliver everything, and when you get introduced to certain characters, I won't say who, you know, just in case anybody's seen it, but there's one character you get introduced and then you meet him again, you're like, oh.
That and another thing I will say without spoiling anything, but it subverts character expectations. They set it up as this like archetypal such and such, and then change it up on you.
Yeah.
And it leaves you. I don't like any kind of show where you have to get you're gonna guess what's gonna. It's very predictable. Definitely not that type of show.
Yeah.
So, and it's good when you have some levity here and there, and I don't know, just check the show out.
The villain was impressive.
Yeah.
I started thinking about like when we did our villain episode, I was like, oh man, like these are the kind of guys that deserve much more conversation about.
We're gonna revisit villains again, and that's gonna be. Oh, you know what would be fun is every season having a villains episode, because I feel like every year there's like a new villain. You know, recently it's the 200 plus people on Epstein's list, but it's so we'll have to sift through a lot of stuff. Rudy, to you.
It's not on the list, guys.
Godzilla's too big for his list.
That list -1.
So, so Rachel's been on a rewatch binge lately, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go in the other room. I'm gonna put something new. I'm gonna watch it, and then 3 hours later, I'm like, watching the same show that she's watching, and I'm like, oh fuck, I totally missed it.
Yeah.
But I did finally carve out time to watch the Blue-Eyed Samurai. I did finish it, and I can't wait for us to get deeper into that.
Yeah, I got
in
to
the
finish
episode. And just trying to get a grip on all of this as it's moving forward, I think is pretty much been my my nerd boner for the last couple weeks. Trying to get all this set up and ready, and I'm ready to evolve this little podcast into a visual podcast.
I think we spent like a whole 20, maybe 30 minutes. You'd have to go back and listen to the last episode of the first season, but it was like a Rudy jerk fest, and rightfully so. Really, rightfully so, because it's one of those things where like I'm the type of person that if someone's doing good, like I always want to remind them constantly, but then at the same time, like it's kind of tiring. Let me just like save it all up in just one big, and yeah, there's not enough that we can say, or at least that I can say. I'll speak for myself. Thank you very much. That I can say as far as like the shit that you do around here, as far as like all the technical everything, as far as you do around here, everything. You're like, oh, I did this, that, and the other for the fucking Forehead Films review. You're like, oh, hold on, I'm trying to like fix some graphics. I'm like, no, it's cool, dude. I'll like throw it in post. You're like, no, I want to do it, and you did, and it was hilarious, and I'm glad that you did it. So, thank you.
Ditto.
Yeah. I've been having fun with all of this so far. The only thing I'm kind of dreading is getting into editing like these full long form episodes into like one video for our YouTube channel, which we will be pushing more. You guys follow us on YouTube.
Yep.
But we'll see how that turns out, and we'll see how it goes.
Since the beginning, everybody's been asking, where are you on YouTube? I'm like, oh, this. They're like, it's just audio. I'm like, yeah.
It's a podcast. Podcast.
Everyone fucking loves the visual, especially when jackasses like him are trying to do that thing on the chair, the Riker maneuver.
I still haven't seen that. I've been wanting to pull that up.
Did I not clip that?
Oh, you might
guys?
have.
I swear to God, I pulled. Oh shit!
You shared the
forgetting that
audio as
somewhere.
you were editing it, but
Despite how like tech savvy I am, I sometimes forget like the cloud exists, and like for you to like show me something, it's like I need you to hand it to me. No, yeah, it's probably on the cloud.
The
Jermaine?
shenanigans.
What you got over there?
I've been getting into a lot more Korean movies, which I watched. I did finally watch The Killer, which you guys recommended.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah.
And then I also watched a Korean movie also called The Killer, which doesn't have anything to do with the other the Michael Fassbender one that's on Netflix.
yeah.
Also good. I really like that story. But I watched 2 movies called The Witch. There's a part 1 and the part 2, and I believe part 3 is supposed to come out later on. But it's like a sci-fi-ish, kind of like a teen soldier type movie where they're doing experiments on kids, and they get like Jean Grey level powers.
Oh.
So it's one of those things. The first one was with like the first sister. She was going through and damn near just murdering everybody. They have all these abilities now, and the fight scenes. I will jump to part 2, where they're fighting on this, like it's like a billboard, but it's like a screen, and they're just going at it, and the guy falls off the billboard, but he sticks the knife in there and he slides down, and the girl's getting ready to swoop down, and he just lets go of the knife and he just pulls out his gun and he's just shooting at it. And I'm just like,
Oh, that sounds so cool.
it's all around goodness, but I just have to wait for part 3, and I don't know if it's coming out this year or next year. There's no official release date yet, but I really liked the first one, so therefore I dove into the second one, and the second one was even better because it deals with her sister, and she's that Jean Grey level of a witch with her
What's the streaming on?
abilities.
Peacock?
I don't remember if it was like Amazon.
Oh, yeah. I see it on Amazon, Peacock, free Roku channel. Fuck
But but it was called The Witch.
Shit, I gotta check that out, dude.
Because there's a couple. But if you did like the Killer on Netflix,
Yeah.
I think you would like the Korean version of The Killer too.
Okay.
That was a really good story.
Is it like it has nothing to do with, or it's like similar to?
No, it has nothing to do with it.
Just by title.
Yes, just by title alone, and I believe it's based off of a Korean webtoon.
Okay.
But the story got me a little bit. At the end, I was like, right in my feels. But yes, that's really what I've been doing.
Yes.
Speaking of foreign films that are really spectacularly good, Godzilla Minus One.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Fuck yeah.
Jesus Christ.
That's all I can say.
it's really good.
It's more than really good.
It's
yeah.
atomic level movie.
See what you did there. I don't like it.
This fucking nerd.
Fucking puns. It's my, hey, can I talk to you for a second, Jermaine? Hey, that's my fucking job, okay?
You want to go talk to me off screen?
Look me in the eye, son of a bitch.
I mean, yeah, like going into the movie, it was certainly like, I like Godzilla. Like,
Oh, yeah.
who doesn't like Godzilla? And I went into it thinking like, yeah, all right, cool, Godzilla, like, and then just immediately
I
went like,
wasn't ready.
oh,
I was not ready.
this is really good, and it just got better and better, and I just walked out of the theater like, oh man,
I probably
telling everybody.
if people weren't raving about it, similar to Parasite, right? If people weren't raving about it, then I probably wouldn't have seen it. But because it was so amazing that word of mouth got around, I was like, okay, I have to check it out.
Yeah.
And fuck you, me, I'm so glad that I did. Yeah, it's we've seen legendary Godzilla, and that's more of like what I'm familiar with, and then Godzilla 2000, and I was like, okay, I guess these are pretty cool, and it gets a little bit better, and kind of yes and no, gets better and gets worse, but then you have this movie like so sure of itself, full-heartedly from the start, everything that everyone complains about that you're looking for, and it just goes, oh yeah, plop, there you go, enjoy.
Yeah, I would say like, Godzilla's movies are not for everybody, especially the legendary stuff. They're very much like teen boy, like beat 'em up, special effects. And then a lot of the old Japanese, of course, isn't for everybody. But this one is for everybody.
Yeah, it has a little bit of everything in there. It has, of course, the Godzilla that we all love, but the heart of the story is there. There's those people who like, the drama, love story, a triumphant story, somebody overcoming, fears and all these things, and just bringing people together. Like it's all mixed in this gumbo of a movie, and it just flows very nice.
Yeah, and I would say that the monster part of it, Godzilla, even though it's a giant radioactive lizard with atomic breath or heat ray or whatever they called it in the movie.
Dare you simplify him like that?
They called it something like that.
They call it the heat ray. They refer to
Yeah.
the heat ray.
But I like the atomic breath. I like how that resonates.
But I feel like it wasn't complicated. So even someone who's not a big sci-fi or whatever, it's like, yes, it's a giant monster, but like the destruction and everything wasn't some overly complicated cosmic ray thing that. Yeah. It's a lizard. It's a force of nature.
I'm trying to devise ways in my brain to trick Rachel into watching this because I think she would. I really think she would like it for the story, but like, and then I also don't want to watch it with her because I'll be like this the whole time, looking at her and not the screen. Waiting for her to react.
Can we shoot a reaction video of you doing that?
Yeah, this should be more distracted by me watching her. She's like, so I don't know. I don't know if that's going to happen, but it's one I definitely think that people should be forced to watch.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Strap people to a chair, cut a hole in the bottom of it, and every time they feel the urge to reach for a phone while the movie's on, you hit them with that James Bond.
Oh, that scene.
You make them pay attention because that's how good this movie is.
I know you do them like Tom and Jerry, where you get the toothpicks and put it in the so they can't
the whole Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
Like just what?
Clockwork Orange.
That was a Clockwork Orange.
That was a little thinking one.
haven't seen that.
But before we go too deeper into it, do we need to put a spoiler disclaimer?
No, because everyone who's going to see it has already seen it, and those who haven't,
Okay.
are probably going to wait till it streams anyway,
True.
and they're not the ones that are listening to our podcast.
Yeah. Hopefully. I mean, I have friends that wasn't aware that like there was 2 Godzilla movies coming out. Like I kept talking about, and they thought I was talking about like the same one, the legendary, the Godzilla X Kong, and it was like, no, there's a Japanese one. Like, go watch that one. Like I'm like, and you have to do it soon because honestly, by the time this episode is out, it might be out at the theaters.
And again, one of the things that was going to keep me from watching this was I saw clips of, I forgot what year it was, Shin Godzilla. And at first glance of that, I was like, what the hell? Because he goes to like different forms.
Hands like this. Little hands.
I gotta try to look it up. But he goes through his different forms. I was like, I don't know. This isn't really like my Godzilla. I did do a deeper dive on it and was very impressed of how they broke it down and why they did what they did. but you know, at first glance, I was like, I'm already used to like legendary Godzilla. I'm happy with like the way he's literally built, Thickzilla, you know, and
Look at those little hands.
The whole popping and locking legendary Godzilla. Like,
yeah, there you go.
Look at those little hands.
Yeah.
I'm checking out
His
the-
fucking menacing eyes. His eyes are nuts, though.
Oh yeah.
I do have to watch that, but it had put me off. I was like, nah, I'm just gonna stay tuned for Legendary Godzilla. And then I saw the trailer for Godzilla X Kong, and I was like, oh, okay, you know. And I'm glad Godzilla Minus One came out.
I really do like this movie because it wasn't one of those that you kind of just went in there just expecting like a typical, you know, Godzilla movie.
I didn't know what to expect.
for me, it's always you watch a Godzilla movie. Okay, is Godzilla going to be the terror, the force of nature that runs through everything? Mm-hmm. Is he going to be like the quasi good guy where he's fighting against other kaiju's, or is he going to be like the goofy friend of a little boy Godzilla who like they have adventures and there's a little baby Godzilla with his little puff smoke rings. Like, so that's always, I'm always looking at, okay, so which one is going to be this time? And then we got what we got.
Yeah. And all are fun.
The one component of Godzilla Minus One, again, it's like hard to break this down because it's, okay, what was great about it is that, it is...
We're done. Okay, bye.
With
that's as good a place as any.
Same high time.
with any Godzilla movie, there's always the human element and to balance out the Godzilla component, and usually one's better than the other, and vice versa throughout any of the Godzillas. Fucking balance. They balanced it out in this one.
Yeah, I mean, this one, they just made me care so much that I was invested in this movie. I was invested in everybody, all the characters, you know, whether it be the main character, you know, his girl, you know, his friend, you know, or the crew that was, you know, on the island.
Yeah.
I was just invested in everybody's story because I just wanted to see, like, this was one of the movies where I damn near was rooting for the people more so than I was rooting for Godzilla.
Yeah.
You know, normally I'm like, do your thing, Godzilla. You know, destroy, you know, the city, do what you got to do. But it was one of these things like, I was like, not this time.
No, I
love
like,
this Godzilla.
you dick.
I love him. You know, I love, I did read an article, you know, that they were saying that they put in this movie, the God back in Godzilla.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he was like that destructive force of nature. But, man, I was really rooting for everybody to win in this movie. And it was one of those, while I was watching the movie, I was getting teary-eyed and I just want it. You know, I wanted it so bad that I was just getting emotionally caught up in all these characters and what was going on. And that ending, I had to sit there until the credit finished before I left the theater because I was just done.
Oh, not
done,
boner.
done.
Crying or boner, both. That's I one way or the other. That's why I got to stay
I was
sitting.
done.
As soon as the credits rolled and Doug stood up because we saw it together, I walked in front of him and I was like down the stairs, like trying not to be obvious with it. Ran to the bathroom, pretending I was peeing. I'm just like,
Are you crying? No, my pee splashed in my eye.
Yeah, a friend of mine had posted like
I'm
on her-
emotionally sweating.
I'm always switching.
I saw a friend of mine on her Instagram story. She posted like, "Well, I wasn't expecting to cry 3 times during this, and here I am." Like,
Oh no, it got me, man. But I will say the way that the movie was done and certain elements, you know, they kind of pointed things out without really pointing it out. And I just so want that to be true.
It was great storytelling. Filmically, the writing wise, one of the components of it that I was so surprised to follow along with the lead character, Koichi, right, is that he's a World War II kamikaze pilot,
deserter.
a deserter.
Yeah, that part.
And you know,
Dishonor.
as an American, you're like, well, kind of hold a bad taste in your mouth, the whole kamikaze pilots and everything. And and you're rooting for this guy. Like immediately, you feel for him, and even again, spoiler alert, but even like towards the end of the movie, where he's like, "Well, I'm going to fulfill my kamikaze duties," and you think he's going to do it, but everyone else, like the person who was on the island, which I love the way they planted and fulfilled that and paid that off rather, and how he. Like of all people to want him to survive, it was like it was that guy, and the way that they play that out. Oh,
it was
get out of here!
All that what you just said, and even that the young guy who wanted to join the battle, he always wanted to join the battle, and they were like, no, you stay back. And I remember the scene where they were planning the final battle, and they told him to stay back, and he was screaming at the top of his lungs, that he wanted to go join this battle. And as they walk away, they say, this thing like, we leave Japan to you, like it's future, dude. And I was just
I love that.
I was like, no.
I was sitting there watching that.
Sorry. Now you're hearing generational shit.
Yeah. I was like,
I watched that and like immediately after, I'm like, that was the cheesiest shit you could have said. But the way they fucking delivered it, like the whole thing, acted and just the atmosphere. It was perfect.
Yeah,
it was perfect.
It's so. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say I also appreciated that at one point in the movie, that young guy was talking about like wanting to be in the war, wanting to be in the battle, and they kind of like told him it's like, no, war's horrible.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like no one should want
lead
that.
like really fucking got in his face about it.
Yeah, which I think it's a good message I think to send. And
well, you have Americans call it like jingos, right? The people that they're like, I'm all about. I want to be a soldier. My daddy was a soldier. My dad, fucking Lieutenant Dan sort of thing. If you remember, he's like, I'm gonna die a soldier. Blah blah blah. And there's this like honor or whatever, and nothing against any of that. All for our soldiers and everything. It's this. God, I don't know how it's such a delicate thing to kind of put, but it's not as glorious as one would like to imagine.
Definitely.
And when you see the hell that war is, then the people that went through it are like, you don't want any part of this. It leaves you empty, a lesser person. Yeah. So
scars for the rest of your life.
And us as Americans, regarding this movie and war, World War II in this case. He
means upstairs people. No, go ahead.
I was trying to fit something like that in there. I was like, I'm gonna leave it alone.
It was interesting to get a movie about post World War II from a non-American point of view.
That's a great way to put it.
German. I mean, we've got like German, we've got an American, but like I don't know if I've ever really paid too much attention to how Japan felt.
That is exactly why this movie hit me that way. Is because of where this movie takes place, what had already happened to the people, and then here comes Godzilla, and then the people have already been hit hard, and then they're asked to take on this task again. Like they already, damn near have nothing left, and now we gotta find that courage again to go back into this.
And so that is why it's called Minus One.
I was gonna give it to Rudy.
No, I totally was like, fuck happening? Someone have to pee, let's go.
Unfulfilled.
Oh yeah, I was like, is this the bathroom signal now?
But no, that was the Japan was already set to a state of zero, like completely drained of everything, and Godzilla said I'm -1.
Yeah,
which is what I fucking again amongst everything else, it's one of the major things that I love about this movie is that Godzilla goes back to its origin. It needs to be a story told by the Japanese, and in the scope of post World War II. I think the first one might have been World War I, but I don't know. I'm not gonna get into it. But it's their story to tell. Godzilla shouldn't be in America running around and we're going into the, what is it? Not the underworld, the
Hollow Earth.
The Hollow Earth. I always get that wrong. That's not our fucking story to tell, and all this derivative bullshit. Yeah, it's fun to look at and it gets silly.
We got a commie bastard here that says we can't tell our own stories.
But how dare you tell upstairs people they can't do what they want to do?
But to have this, sci-fi creature running around and then have so much fucking heart in the movie, and to again go. That's what I was gonna say. Was like go back to the origins of having Godzilla be what he was intended to be, which was a metaphor. Of having a thing planted in your lap, and the townspeople, the city, all of Japan and everything, the government abandoning them and leaving them to have to fix their fucking problems, and then banding together to figure it out.
Yeah, they did a really good job addressing that whole idea of like they wouldn't have much of a military left. They part of the agreement, peace agreement with the United States is they couldn't have a military at that point. But then they also touched on like the U.S. couldn't go help them because it was so close to Russia and the Soviets, and I thought that was kind of a nice touch to allow the citizens and the vets to rally together, as you were saying.
That was the heart of the movie. I think we're all done. It's a good place.
I mean, I think I'm surprised we haven't mentioned it yet. 15 million, right? Was the budget for this?
Yeah.
Right? Like that's a huge part of this. After watching, these past few years of $100 million Marvel movies and DC movies, and
is that one of the cheaper movies? The $100 million?
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck, dude.
And again, it just goes to show you that, like, you could do a lot with little, and especially if you have a team that knows what they're doing.
Them. Sorry,
I know firsthand. But yeah, it just the story, the story, the way they do the effects and everything like that. It's much more important than how big of a budget you put onto it.
Okay, let's talk about the quality of the fucking movie, right? The visual quality of it. Okay,
stunning.
They managed to make Godzilla feel huge because he is, without making it seem outlandishly cartoonish. Like, $15 million budget is practically nothing when you have this essentially this, not to throw your stupid fucking puns around this huge fucking movie. I'm so sorry. This huge movie, but they were able to do that and make me feel like I was there. And the fear that they're seeing in their eyes and the fucking rage that is in Godzilla's eyes in any and all of his scenes, like the boat chase scene. Holy shit.
Yeah, and they
he was demonic.
And for those of you that haven't seen it, like they didn't skimp on Godzilla, right? Like you might hear, $15 million budget. That means they're going to pull
his shoulder here.
Yeah, exactly. There. No, like he was there full glory.
Yeah,
they didn't Cloverfield us with this movie.
I mean, he wasn't there.
They didn't Godzilla, the legendary Godzilla.
Yeah, he wasn't there the whole time, but when he did show up, he was there. And
in full effect.
Holy shit!
And the atomic breath, the audio to it, the build up, the charge. What do you guys think of his little back plates? Like,
that was a cool effect.
That was never been done before. They glowed.
Individual one,
glown.
They've done glown.
Well,
they've lit up.
It went along something like this. I thought you were gonna hit it.
I thought you were gonna fart.
No, he was like loading it up.
No, that's a different one. That's the one from that's a legendary one. But no, they've all lit up before, and lightning effects and all that stuff. But the first time they've ever like raised up out of him, glowed, and then like sank in and
they
discharged. Like that was.
I'm curious if that was like some sort of like he's got chambers in his body that he's filling. And then it's pushing. I'm thinking from like a purely like biological. Because I want my designs to make sense from a scientific point of view.
It's a giant radioactive lizard running around.
His metabolism must be crazy.
Or if the director, the writer, and the virtual effects supervisor decided that would just look really cool, which coincidentally are all the same person on this movie.
Yeah,
he wrote it, he directed it, and he was the lead virtual effects supervisor for the movie.
That's why it was.
So he was actually
good,
doing computer rendering on the movie.
The fuck out of here! That's awesome. First off, that's awesome to be able to do that, and then secondly, it's also really convenient because you don't have to try to convey your vision to your different departments. You are the departments.
All the hats for this movie.
Yeah.
But the devastation though of that, I'm gonna keep calling it the atomic breath. That right there, man. When that hit the first time, I was like, oh.
It was something that I'd never seen before in a Godzilla movie.
I wasn't ready for that level of
There was nothing compared to this.
destruction and
No, at all. Like, I was you wait for the atomic breath that's going to happen, and he revs up. And by the way, I think, and this is my interpretation of it, but I feel like the reason why they did the whole plate thing is because he was mutated because of Hiroshima, and so it's like he's essentially kind of in pain when he does that. That's how I'm interpreting it. That's just me.
Yeah, because at the beginning of the movie, he was much smaller, hunched over. He was basically just he's still a monster.
I know.
He's still like very big.
He's very mid.
But then, I don't know if it was Hiroshima or I think they implied it was like just the nuclear testing
I think
or
so.
something.
I think so.
Post-war nuclear testing or something. I don't know, but radiated to fuck though. Got all big and chunky.
But you waited for that atomic breath, and then it happens, and usually you're like, "Oh, cool destruction," and then it happens,
fire,
and the mood and the tone completely change. You're like, "Oh, this is bad."
yeah, like normally I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go, and then it happened. I was like, I don't like this.
I don't like Godzilla.
But what I didn't like, but I didn't mind it.
Give me something to throw at you.
But no,
Grab a butt plug.
it's just it's the main character was killing me, but he was killing me softly.
Fuck, I was gonna say it too. I hate you.
He was,
But I love you.
he was everything that he was supposed to be, but at the same time, he was making me mad. Because of the choices that that he was making, and I wanted him to, to redeem himself so bad.
Yeah.
And when he came back and to his little town where everything was devastated, and he met that girl who had that baby, and it wasn't even her baby. She was just like, this lady just told me to take care of this baby, and this is what I'm doing. And they stayed together.
Yeah.
And I was just like, do it. I was like, just go for it. I felt just like his homies. That's not your wife? I was like, what? He was like, it was almost like the Three Stooges.
Now I will be a gentleman and say that hey, look, you can save a woman and not expect anything. But towards the second half of that movie, she's throwing it at him, and yeah, he's a fucking moron. She was really throwing it at him.
Yeah, but she had
I
a
wanted to
kid.
scream.
No, you know what? I
He
thought
all this stepdad shit.
You know what I thought was like really important with it not being her kid is I think if it was her kid, I don't know if he would have as easily taken her in, but it was a fact that she helped out someone that she just didn't know and happened to meet. So in the three of them was sort of the representation of Japan needing to come together, no matter what everone's history was and everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, I haven't looked into it at all.
Oh,
but
what were you gonna say? I'm kidding.
Smack him. Fucking smack him.
Like I was saying, you go ahead.
I mean, I haven't looked into it at all, but I am curious if there are a lot of stories like that from Japan post-war,
Oh, I would assume that a lot of people had to
people
band together,
taking kids and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Not taking kids, taking kids in. I didn't finish my sentence. Taking kids in. Oh man.
But yeah, man, it was one of those things. I was just like, if you don't get that backbone faster, but when he finally did, man, I was just so happy. Like the story just played out so perfect. It especially when he was ready. When he was ready, I was like, oh.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But I wasn't ready.
Did you think she really died? when they sort of made it seem like that.
That devastated me so much.
Fuck yeah, I
I was
thought
in
she
the
was
theater.
dead.
Yeah. I thought she was Dunzo.
Yeah.
You know, the aftershock of the atomic breath. Just the fact that she pushed him, I was just like, no,
You dumb bitch.
no. And then he came out of that and looked back there, and there was nothing. I was done at that moment.
I felt that they it happened so quick and they didn't spend a lot of time on it. So for a while I was like, oh, she can't be dead. They didn't spend a long time on it. Then I remind myself, it's like, well, I'm not too familiar with like Japanese filmmaking. And so it's like, maybe that's not a thing. Like, I feel like if it was an American film and they wanted to kill her, they would have spent probably way too much time on like the morning or something like that. Not the morning after, like morning. But so I didn't know to answer your question. I didn't know. It didn't seem like it would be possible for her to come back.
Yeah.
You said
the movie.
Oh, go ahead.
No, the movie got me so emotionally caught up. It made me forget my movie rules. That when things happen, you know, like I have these certain rules in my head as a movie goes on, you know, because I'm trying to figure out, you know, what's happening or maybe even predict the outcome of the movie. But I always think, you know, well, if a character, hold on, let me just backtrack. Because I watch a lot of horror movies, if I don't see a body, the person's not dead.
If they get off screened.
Yeah. So
Palpatine returned.
But
And Chewie.
everyone. But I was just so emotionally out of it that just when that happened, I was like, God. That was one of the things that I was like, I wanted it so bad. And I was looking at this movie like, you took everything from me. No, like, no lie. When that shit hit her and you took everything that I wanted from this movie away from me.
Doug said they didn't spend a lot of time with the morning aspect, but when which leads me to my only complaint about this movie is the fucking baby, the little girl. That emotionally manipulative motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like when mom's gone for work and she starts crying.
The true monster of this story.
Tears.
You're right.
There was no chill on that. It was she started crying.
To clarify, you mean when you say emotional manipulation, you mean what a movie's supposed to fucking do?
Yeah, but there's
I thought you meant like the baby was like scheming in the back. You know?
Yes, what the movie's supposed to do, but you know, there's levels.
Yeah.
And then you have crying baby because mama just died, and that was one of those things.
Do
Like,
it no matter what.
Heartstring. All the the strings, the strings in the heart, all of them are fucking tugged.
Yeah.
She was like Kubo in the what was that movie? 6 Strings. It was just getting me all around.
Two strings.
Yes.
Oh no, it was. I don't remember what the movie was called. It was
remotes in
Kubo
here.
and a million strings. It was Kubo and something.
That's Doug's version. Kubo's a million
the
strings.
Six String Samurai. You remember that movie?
Oh yeah. Oh heck yeah.
Fucking and then the end when it turns out she's alive. When the neighbor lady who was watching the kid got the telegram and she opened it up and she was like, and then they just cut to back to the battle and I'm like, she's fucking alive. I was she's fucking alive. She's fucking alive. She's alive. She's alive. And then like the battle happened and I'm like, oh, forgot. And then when everyone met up after the end and he like, look, it's happening. So he's running to the hospital. I'm like, yeah.
I will say though, if they did decide to actually kill her and keep her dead in that scene or however you want to phrase it, I wouldn't have hated the movie. It would have been poetic. It would have been bold of them to do that, and it would have subverted those expectations. It would have strengthened his motivation, maybe being like Papa, and maybe made him realize, don't fucking squander your chances when your chick's throwing it at you, bro.
Exactly.
God, it reminds me of me being a teenager.
But with her appearance at the end, we were just watching a video on this prior to recording. I didn't catch it right away. But she apparently had like some weird growth thing going on her neck that
like a black venom ish looking mark on her neck. So
Symbiote Godzilla Part 2.
Well,
they're saying
the
that,
theory is go ahead.
No, go ahead.
That his atomic attack and his affecting that atmosphere or whatever is kind of put the mutation that was put on him kind of towards humans caught in his blast.
So I'm gonna add to this. I did read up a thing that to say Godzilla's skin, like the texture of his skin, was designed that way purposely for the people who actually survived the actual atomic bomb. They had these burns and boils on their skin, so that's the inspiration for why Godzilla looks the way he looks.
Crackling.
Oh wow,
Okay.
So,
that's
I was
fucking deep. That's dark in a deep fucking way.
Yeah, that's kind of nuts. I mean, it makes sense, but I was just like, oof.
Yeah, it's sort of like, oh, have you seen those photos? Again, not fucking bringing the goddamn show down.
Yeah.
Have you seen those photos?
I have not.
No, I have not, but I've heard about them, but I have not yet looked at those.
Yeah, it burns into your, not to pun it, it burns into your fucking brain, and it's horrible. It really is. Again, the horrors of war and stuff. Let's cheer it up. Let's have something happier.
She's alive.
I was going to ask,
wrong
is that
with me?
the texture you have on your flashlight?
How'd you know that? Hold on a second. I'm freaking out. How'd you know that?
Some bitch
Stop
to
it.
clean.
Hold on a second. How'd you know that? Did you tell him? Did you know that? It's fucking spooky, bro.
Because I think when I went to get my butt plug of that texture, the guy was like, "Hey, some guy just picked up a flashlight."
Fucker almost spit on the laptop. Oof. Oh my god.
So
Inappropriate.
so
I mean,
That will happen on this show.
so the final Kill Godzilla plan. How on board were you guys with that? Let's sink him and then rise him back up.
Okay,
fun.
So-
Science.
well, the way that they set him up, as far as his biology, sorry.
No.
3 times I'm killing the mood. Is the boat chase battle, and they get the upper hand on him, and I'm like, oh, they're gonna blow his, I don't know if they're gonna kill him, they're gonna blow his head off, and they blow half of his fucking head off, and I was like, whoa.
I love that scene because it reminded me of like the horror of like Jaws.
Okay, yeah. Totally, yeah.
Where this thing was just, this ridiculous,
That's a great comparison.
monster was just in the ocean just destroying things, and these guys on the fishing boat.
I forget what the fear is, but it's like the fear of like large things submerged in water, and that totally fucking like trigger that.
There's a thing there.
What?
That's why Rachel doesn't come in the bathroom when I'm taking a bath.
Shows up.
I flashed to myself in a bathtub too, which is like, for people that haven't seen me, I'm like 6'4". Me in a bath is either my legs are straight up the wall or I'm sitting in it. Like that's
All I thought
That's
about was
how
just
it
like
works.
me looking down at the toilet after I'm done with it. I'm like, wow.
Kill
You
the
don't-
fire.
You don't sit hunched in there with your knees somewhere around your ears.
oh,
That's
that's
kinda
too
how I
hard
am.
for my body.
I get that going.
No, yeah, okay.
Kimchi squat on the toilet. There are people that actually shit like that in regular toilets, but neither here nor there.
I have the
I
video.
just stand on the toilet
What the fuck is happening?
with my torch, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and just scream, and it just all comes out, and I don't have to wipe.
That's how you power through.
You don't have to wipe.
Atomic flesh.
Let's fucking end it there. Where you go after that? Same high time.
Same high channel.
Where the I mean,
Why? we were just talking about bath times.
submerged things.
Submerged
and blowing
things.
his
Godzilla
head
was in the
off, and
water.
then
Yeah,
fucking,
we're talking
like,
about Godzilla.
regeneration. Regenerate.
How quickly he regenerated, though.
Oh my
I
god,
love
that
that.
guy was
Okay,
fast.
sorry, thank
that.
you for bringing
I
it back.
love
Thank
that.
you.
Yeah, super fast.
So they did that, and so they kept upping his power level. Every time you thought it was like this other Godzilla's power level, and they go, "Oh yeah, watch this, hold my fucking atomic beer," and then boom, boom, boom. You're like, wait a second, how are they gonna stop him?
Yeah.
How are you gonna fucking stop him? And so they proposed what they did, and I was like, okay, I'll have to go along with it, because like in my mind, how the fuck do you stop this thing who is a god?
I for sure didn't think it was gonna work though. I knew old boy was gonna figure something out, or he was gonna try to sacrifice himself to do it. But it was just cool that they actually came up with the plan and they actually did it, And I mean, if they would have did something else on top of that, then maybe it might have worked. But
what failed again?
It just didn't. It wasn't enough to kill him.
But yeah,
His
it just didn't
biology
work.
was too
It hurt
strong.
him, but it wasn't enough to like finish him.
Did he tear something, or did something just malfunction? I'm trying to remember.
He would because remember initially it was sinking him,
Right.
And then they could tell he was still alive, right? Because I think they felt the boats jerking. So
Like,
then the idea
it
was
compressed him enough, but not. Or,
yeah. The idea was hopefully that the compression of the ocean in the deep would crush
the
him.
crane.
And then when they found out that didn't work, they realized they had to pull him up because that was the second part of the plan.
Right,
never mind.
right.
Blow the
yeah, they were
balloons.
gonna
Basically give him
pull
the
him up.
bins.
Yeah.
Rapid compression and then rapid decompression.
Yeah. And it just didn't work. Godzilla was too strong.
Yeah.
But in doing so, they were kind of able to kind of trap him and get him pissed off in the one spot and hero of the story was able to.
I did like that his atomic breath
open wide. Here comes the airplane.
wasn't like a rapid fire that he couldn't just fire it off. You know what I'm saying? That he had to take time to build that up, which was a nice little
Convenient.
And again, I don't think we might have already said it, and pardon if I'm repeating it, but that he had no motivation. That he was just this force of nature, just stomping and rampaging around.
Yeah, that's all he is.
Looking for his keys.
That's all he's supposed to be.
I did like the part where they hypothesize that he's like a territorial, creature. So they play his voice recording back to him over that little decoy ship. And then all of a sudden, you're like, the decoy ship has failed. And you just see it sailing over, sailing over with him to crash into the little port they have. I'm like, oh, yeah, that failed.
Oh, that's clever.
That was so good.
Yeah.
How hyped did you guys get when those two warships were trying to hold Godzilla? And then you saw the fleet coming in the background with, oh, boy, just leading the charge.
That was another eye leakage moment for me, too. And I was like, oh, he's here. He brought the homies. Let's go.
My eyeballs were sweating.
And then in the next instant, they had all those cables up rigged, and they were all pulling. I'm like, wow, that took him a cool hour or two to rig all that shit up, and then get going. Godzilla just chilling in the water.
Yeah, I gave him that one. I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, and honestly. It almost disappointed me because at that point I was so like, this is the greatest movie ever. This is 100%. This is flawless. And then there was the blink of an eye, apparently all the boats can just throw ropes real quick, and it was like
we needed a montage.
Wasn't he?
They're all having fun.
If I remember this correctly, when he got pulled back up, wasn't there a point where he was freezing as he was coming up?
I don't know if it was a freezing effect, but when you rapidly come up, nitrogen builds up in your body. So I guess that was the effect they were trying to portray, that he was nitrogen poison.
Yeah, there was some kind of freezing thing. I don't remember in what order.
But I don't know my science. Liquid nitrogen is really cold, so I'm assuming that's the effect they were looking for.
Yeah,
and also I know we were all hoping that oh boy was telling him about the ejection seat and all that. When he was telling him about the plane that he designed, he
totally leaned in and they cut the audio on purpose.
That was like, oh, just give it to me.
When he first was the mechanic was first inspecting the plane, he's looking at and they kind of mentioned they even put an ejection seat in before that, and he's looking at it, and then he looks in the plane, and then he goes. He goes deeper in there to look at it, and I'm like, oh, look, he's looking at the ejection seat.
Yeah.
See, these are these moments where I'm so distracted with other stuff, and other people see this, and I'm like, fuck, I missed that.
Yeah. And it's cool that they do put that in because, they could have easily just, not teased it and then had him eject, and, it would have been the surprise, and then they would have, look, good thing you put that in. It's it's kind of fun that they tease it
there you go. That's a great point, too, because it's done so subtly where it's not in your face, but it's in the background if, you're the smarter of the four and are actually paying attention to those types of things.
I love when movies, I don't want to even say the name of it, but I was watching a movie earlier this week where they did something like that, where they had teased.
Whisper it to me.
Maggie Moore's or something like that. It's, I don't know, John Hamm, Tina Fey. Anyway, but they did something like that similar where they had set up something very early on as it almost as just like some sort of stupid joke that you kind of forget about. And then at the end, it was used to
the tough
finish the conflict, and no mentioning of it though. Even afterwards, it wasn't like, oh, haha, good thing. It was just straight up. If you had forgotten that scene earlier in the movie, you would have not known why that worked. And I was like, all right, cool.
That's how plants and payoffs should work. You should have the plant that is so subtle and not in your fucking face. You ever watch a movie and you go, that's a plant. There's another plant. And it'll either pay off like as a joke or whatever. Like Back to the Future is kind of, infamous for doing that, or notorious for doing that, whatever. And then there's, your plant and payoff, like in I don't know, like Die Hard, the original Die Hard. There's some of your plants early on, and then like you just said, at the very end. But these plants in this movie was it's subtle and well enough.
When he was going over the plane with the pilot, and he's like, "Oh, we replaced this with the bomb and all that stuff." When he was running him through like the little knobs and stuff, and he like, you pull this lever to prime the bombs. Totally thought he was like, I'm being real sneaky. Yeah, pull this lever to prime the bomb. It's actually gonna shoot the ejection seat up. Oh. But then they did that little moment at the end where like they cut the audio and he's still talking to him. I'm like, oh yeah, he's telling him there's actual ejection seat. That in my mind, that's where I was going with that.
I want you to live. It's good.
Yeah, that was
it's great.
Hit me hard.
Yeah.
And let's not forget that soundtrack.
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
I was listening to it so much.
I listened to that on the way home after I watched that movie to get all my feels up.
Not just the soundtrack, because it was fucking awesome to hear that OG theme, but the sound design, like you mentioned before, the sound of the atomic breath revving up and everything. And I was immersed in the whole fucking world of it.
I heard that they used the original roar, but they recorded it through a speaker.
Interesting.
To pump it up a little bit and to give it a little bit of distortion and raspiness. So I was like,
I'm all for it.
That works.
So then Godzilla has like Deadpool healing factor. He's just at the very
at the very end.
He's this little nug, and
but did you guys think he was dead?
Yeah.
Yes, actually.
Like the way he disintegrated. I don't think I've ever seen a Godzilla die that finally. Like I've seen him fall into a volcano.
His head blew off, and then his body just cracked up. And just.
I've seen a bunch of different Godzilla deaths, but I haven't seen one that like, oh shit, he gone.
Yeah. I was out dead.
So here's the question then. Same people involved. Do you think they can make a second one just as good?
Sequels are always difficult.
They are gonna make a sequel. I did hear that the director
-1 plus 2.
Fucking doing math.
No.
Divide by 0.
No. Godzilla common denominator.
-1. Is there any lower? But
Godzilla. Was it imaginary numbers? Sorry, it's math joke.
Square root of -1 and get an I in there.
I did hear that he said he's not in a
Part
rush.
3 is pi.
He's not rushing to finish it, so he's gonna take his time. But
I hope so.
From what we've seen, I mean, I hope that part 2 would just be good as 1.
Yeah. My only fear would be like 1, I think Godzilla or any monster movie works better when it is that unknown force. And I feel like if you go in with the second one, I mean, they don't have to, but that's where they're going to want to start trying to explain where he goes or where he's been, or and especially if they bring in another kaiju, right? That's when you start getting into the legendary monsterverse, Hollow Earth. Like, how come we don't see these things? Which can be interesting, especially from the nerdy sci-fi point of view. Like, we love world building, right? We love that kind of stuff. But from a movie point of view, it just works so much better when it's this unknown force, and the cast, the characters are learning its powers, right? Oh, he's got regenerate at the same time we do, and stuff like. So I think they can do it, but I just be curious because I feel like just like a superhero movie, like origin stories are always going to be easier and a better movie, I think. But those aren't always done well either. We're saying that.
Sequels are always difficult, especially if the first movie was just amazing and it's part of pop culture or whatever. and again, like the things that we talked about in this particular movie is how strong the human storyline was, and if we're continuing on with those same characters, now that they've essentially been redeemed, like how do you have that level, that multi-layered level of heart in the sequel? I'm not a writer, and I know that they're out there figuring it out. But as a fucking layman, I'm like, how do you fucking do that? How are you gonna do that? That's you not necessarily painting yourself in a corner, but you know, and also with sequels, you kind of like you want to have the same beats, but you don't want it to be the same movie.
Yeah.
And so it gets tricky. It gets really tricky.
I will say I was good with this movie if it was just gonna be like a standalone. But just the fact that it ended like that, I was like, oh, okay.
Now there are sequels that you know, most of like the sequels that we've seen, it's a completely different story, right? They're trying to retell the same thing. But then you have certain movies where it knows at a certain capacity that it's going to be a continuation, and it feels like a continuation of that storyline, where you're like, oh, and it picked up right where it left off, so it doesn't need to follow those same beats, and there's that sort of growth. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Oh yeah.
Either way, it's a great time to be a Godzilla fan.
Holy shit!
I know we
kaiju monsters.
I still haven't seen the Apple TV one. What's it called?
Monarch.
Yeah,
I've watched most of it. I don't know if a new episode's come out, but I was all caught up. That's what I was going to get at. So we've been not quite shitting on the Legendary stuff, but we've been kind of implying that the American, when we say Legendary, that's the production company, right?
Yeah.
Behind it. Okay. Yeah. We're not trying to imply that that's the Legendary Godzilla. No, that's the people making it. But
These
they're part of
movies
that.
are just fun. They're just fun movies.
Yeah, it's part of the bigger
general.
monster verse. So you know, we had Godzilla, then Kong Skull Island, Godzilla King of Monsters, Godzilla versus Kong, and then Godzilla X Kong is coming out later this year, and Monarch is a series on Apple TV that's taking place after the first Godzilla movie. And you know, like you said, they're fun movies. I think I saw a comment online that said, like, look, we don't need to be comparing these two. We should just be happy that they both exist. We get both of them. And yeah, you know what? As a Godzilla fan, maybe you don't like the Legendary stuff, but I think it's important because I think there are going to be a lot of like, you know, teen boys that are going to go see their first kaiju movie this year because Godzilla X Kong looks like a fun popcorn thing, and they'll go see it, and then maybe they'll start Googling more Godzilla stuff.
I feel like if you're comparing Godzillas, because you know, the original Godzilla came out in 1954, right? And Godzilla Minus One felt like it went right back to that original. Excuse me.
Chocolate Rain.
Ew.
I know it was like an old.
It's the old internet meme.
Yeah, it's
not
old
like
internet
actual
meme. No, it's
chocolate
not
rain.
that.
My brain
It's
went
not
somewhere gross.
Yeah, I know
cut
exactly where you went.
You'll cut all this out because like I'm coughing up stuff. I forgot how to swallow, and I was like eating. Yeah, I was eating, and I was like, and it just went. How about this throat? And I'm like, whoa, some fucking
Oh, he has
aspirated.
two throats.
Fucking dick.
They can suck Klingons off. Klingons have 2 dicks.
Klingon.
The American version and the Japanese version. Your throats.
Jesus Christ. So you have the original. So if you're going to compare anything, right? Like Minus One and even Shin Godzilla took the inspiration from the original Godzilla. And if you've seen anything else after that 1954 Godzilla, it gets really campy, and he starts pairing up with Ultraman, and you know, then it's all King of Monsters, and it gets like really silly, and he's like posing and all this other shit, right? I feel like after
He became a mascot.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There you go. And so that's what it feels like with like Godzilla X Kong, is it feels like it's sort of veered into that particular lane. Because when you watch that, you know, one of the recent trailers of that, and they're like running, you know, together, and you're like, okay, this is that.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah, they're about to have a WWF tag team match right now.
Yeah.
You have to have a baby Kong, a baby character in every fucking thing.
Yeah, I mean, I could be mistaken, but I think that's pretty much what happened. Was at some point Godzilla became popular and almost a symbol of Japan, but they also recognized like they don't want their symbol to be a metaphor for their own destruction, and so they kind of, reclaimed him as like he became more heroic and,
Yeah.
and he became like this fun like mascot that they could dress people up and I don't know,
You know what it
cut the
remind-
ribbon at a auto dealer.
You know what it reminds me of, and this is such a good comparison. I'm so smart.
Oh, good.
Is
I love it when you do smart things.
is like Jesus Christ on the cross and a crucifix that you wear around your neck. You know, it's a torture thing. Blah
There it
blah
was.
blah. Weird representation. I'm pretty sure Rudy will edit all this out. I fucking hope to God that he does. Well, that's as good as places that
I got 3 fun facts before we
Yeah,
leave.
hit us with it.
So the first fun fact: did you guys know Godzilla has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame?
I did not. Where's that located?
I don't know.
Why the fuck would you bring it
that
up?
In Hollywood, jackass.
On the Walk of Fame.
On the Walk of Fame.
Hollywood?
No, I mean,
Damn.
like, does he have a good? Wait, isn't it next to is the Chinese Man Theater?
How dare you?
It's
No.
the TCL theater. Mans doesn't own it anymore.
Okay. Sorry,
Yeah, come on, man.
isn't it near there? I don't know. Because I didn't want him to have like a. You don't want him to have like a bad spot where like the bums piss on him. That's all I'm saying.
And then
I should know where it's at. I'm
Hold on,
walking around
He's
Hollywood
thinking.
all
Wait
the
a
time.
second.
No, I was broken for a minute. Some people might like that. Why you keep shaming?
Yeah, this is
Sweet
a very
guy.
open-minded.
I'm very sorry. Continue on with the facts.
no, I think I'm done. No, I'm kidding. He is a registered citizen of Japan,
Huh.
so he's
Something-
he's legal. So if he's swimming in the water, does he have to take his passport? You know, if he ever goes anywhere else. And then one of these facts was pretty interesting to me because when they were first coming up with the concept or the idea for the monster, before he was like a lizard dinosaur looking thing, they had an idea where he was going to be a octopus like type of creature,
Wow. Imagine that being.
which would have been a pretty crazy concept.
Wrapped around the Tower of Tokyo. Mm.
Well, that's as good as place as any to fucking.
Have you looked up?
No, look up. No.
Look at Douglas.
Oh.
I got AI.
Asking you shall receive.
Holy
Hold it up for the camera.
That's
Hold it up for
the
camera.
world we live in.
There you go.
Oh man.
The savior character.
Oh God, what have I done? No.
Isaac is
I
like,
originally-
more.
I originally typed in Godzilla crucified to a cross, and I was expecting the prompt of like, we can't fucking do that. Instead, I got like, oh, it's too vague, and I was like, oh, in a grimdark style, because that's all my AI prompts. And
Yeah.
there you go.
Oh God.
One more fun fact, though. Godzilla is recognized by the Guinness Book of World Records as the longest continuously running film franchise,
Whoa.
Oh,
having been in
Yeah.
ongoing continuous production since 1954.
hell yeah!
What's the math on that? How many years is that?
Doug?
Oh Jesus, 46, 69,
It's 54 and
69?
we're 24. So shouldn't it be even? 54?
Oh yeah, we're at 24 now. Yeah. So 70.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm terrible at math. Hey, Doug is smart.
I know.
Saw it through at the end, fucker.
Like follow the logic. 70 years this November.
Oh, other modern Godzilla things or current Godzilla things is Godzilla versus Justice League in the comic books.
Oh, we looked that up, right? Of like Godzilla battling fucking
The Avengers back in the day. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers a little bit more recently. Godzilla versus Justice League. And there was a comic of Godzilla versus Charles Barkley.
Yes. Yes.
NBA star Charles Barkley.
And then
We'll be throwing all these up.
Oh, Godzilla, you are bad. You are so bad.
Mecha Godzilla in Ready Player One.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I love that fight scene, by the way.
How'd you like the Mecha Godzilla and Legendary Godzilla?
He's okay. Like, it's a different design. You know, I didn't like his face too much, but his body was fine. But I just didn't
You
like
didn't
his,
like that face either.
Makes it hurt often.
That Mecha Godzilla butterface, I swear.
All right.
Nah, that's it.
So, for Godzilla Minus One. At 4, Atomic Breaths being the highest rating, 0 Atomic Breaths being the lowest. Should we give our rating?
Yeah.
All right, hold on. Let's charge it up. We give it 4 out of 4.
That's what we give it.
And that just happened.
We're so fucking cool. I swear to God.
Fuck you guys, I love it. Jesus
I wish I had 4 atomic
Oh, no,
breath.
I wasn't being sarcastic. That's fucking awesome.
Fucking Rudy. Here he goes with that shit. I love it, dude. I fucking love it. Well,
Go
fuck.
watch this movie.
Yeah, I mean, that's what the whole fucking, we're drinking.
Even if you have to
Godzilla.
watch it at home because it might not be in theaters by the time you watch this, but you must watch this movie.
Oh, I hope you guys are talking about that they're gonna, but it's not in the States, right?
The black and white version.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen anything.
I don't know.
It was a Japan only thing.
Yeah.
God damn it.
They get everything.
I hope this is one of those movies that does, sometime in the near future, get like a re-release or whatever. You get to see it every year or something.
Yeah,
like
definitely my favorite movie of 2023.
Nice, bold statement.
That. Fucking A. Ended on that.
I mean,
Well,
not Blue Beetle.
yeah.
I don't know why I picked that one. That one was decent. I mean, I could have picked a lot of other movies there. Not The Flash. I mean, anyway, whatever. We're just stalling
Aquaman
here.
2,
We're just stalling.
Lost Kingdom.
I haven't seen it yet.
Nope, me neither.
Very little interest.
I got a review coming out. Anywho, so that's as good a place as any to fucking wrap this up. Let's put away our atomic breath. Let's go back into the ocean and regenerate. Until next time, guys. Check us out on social media, on TikTok and on IG at the Hype Attack. Right?
Yeah.
Do we need to revisit like where to find us on our social media? Because since it is, we forgot to do that on the last go round.
If you go to our Instagram page and go to the bio, there is a link to the link tree.
There you go.
Which has all of our socials in there for the Hype Attack. And then I think I need to update it, but I think I still have the link to your video game photo Instagram page up there.
Okay.
We have the link to Forehead Films, and I believe I have YHSD linked there too. But if not, I'll throw that one up.
No, we need to take
as well.
those down. It's trash. Don't even bother.
I was
yes.
going to have you on as a guest.
Instagram
Yep.
at the Hype Attack. All of the links are there in the link tree.
Yeah. And if there's anything that we might have missed in this gargantuan universe, let us know in the comment section or hit us up in the DMs if you like that sort of
Let
thing.
us know your favorite Godzilla or your favorite Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
And why it's -1.
Yeah.
Why it's -1.
It has to be minus.
Let's
one.
just end it before the puns get fucking any worse, you guys.
Yeah.
Until next time, same hype time,
Same hype channel.
Hype attack.
Just take full until it's off.